Okay, so false narratives cause confusion and destroy people's lives and create stories that cause people harm and annoyance, like it's doing to me right now. So to clear up a couple of things, because I'm just tired of seeing all these stupid posts talking about Cassie hired lawyers because now she's in trouble. Cassie was in trouble the whole damn time. And she didn't just hire lawyers. She had the same lawyers the entire time, which is the law firm of Wigdor LLP. If those of you who can't tell just by looking at me, and I'm an African-American male, Mr. Wigdor is an old school white man who has those old school white man principles to him, thinking that a black man doesn't deserve justice. So what he decided to do was ignore my lawsuit because he figured I was incompetent and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And if they ignored me long enough, that Cassie would just be allowed to get away with it, because guess what, people? I hadn't served her, so if the lawsuit is not served in a certain amount of time, it's dismissed. Mr. Wigdor underestimated me. He underestimated my ability to draft documents, and he underestimated my legal acronym, which is getting vast and more expansive the longer he plays this game and allows me to go through semesters of law school. I'm getting smarter, people, and I get smarter every day. So what I did was draft a motion and make a timeline of all the appearances in the media that Mr. Wigdor has made public statements in regard to the representation and the victimization of Cassandra Ventura. And I created a motion seeking alternative service with a federal judge, and I attached that timeline to the motions to establish to the court that Douglas Wigdor did represent Cassandra Ventura and that he was ducking me and denying me the process to serve his client. This federal judge agreed with me and issued an order forcing Douglas Wigdor to serve Cassandra Ventura with this complaint. This is why Cassie got served. She did not just hire lawyers, people. She had the lawyers the whole time. Cassie is a pathological liar, people. I'm not doing this to victim shame her. I'm not trying to harm her, but Cassie harmed me. Cassie's a liar. Cassie has lawyers who don't believe black men can be victims. So what they tried to do was play me thinking I was an ignorant black man, and oh, did they make a mistake. Now their client is facing horrible embarrassment because her attorneys were too racist and arrogant to realize that I wasn't stupid. And maybe they should address the valid claims that I'm saying, because the Wigdor law firm has known about the allegations of Clayton Howard since, I want to say, August of 2024. People, this is not a new case. Cassie's law firm was not recently made aware of this. They have known since last year, people. There has been a massive conspiracy to protect the credibility of Cassie, even though she's a pathological liar. And my mission is to expose that pathological liar for the person she is. Because she tried to play me, people. She harmed me, and instead of her admitting the things that she did to me and simply giving me an apology for lying to me for 7 to 8 years and possibly harming my life, she refuses. So I seek justice, and I'll get it.
Oh, man. Okay. Congratulations, Cassie. You look beautiful.
What happens when the only way to be heard is to shout into the chaos you're condemning? This statement forces us to confront an uncomfortable reality. In the age of social media, truth is no longer decided quietly in courtrooms. It is fought over loudly in public opinion. When institutions feel inaccessible or dismissive, people turn to platforms where emotion travels faster than nuance. But here's the deeper question. If misinformation can destroy lives, what responsibility do we all carry when we consume, repeat, or weaponize incomplete stories? Brother Clayton's anger is not just about one case. It reflects a wider fear that credibility is selectively granted, that some voices must overperform competence just to be acknowledged. Learning the law becomes not just education, but survival. Being ignored becomes a provocation. Silence becomes violence. At the same time, this raises a sobering dilemma. When personal truth is expressed through accusation and absolutism, does it illuminate justice or risk hardening divisions that courts exist to resolve? Perhaps the most unsettling takeaway is this. A system that leaves people feeling unseen will inevitably produce narratives that are loud, raw, and unforgiving. And until trust in fair process is restored, public discourse will continue to resemble a battleground rather than a forum for truth. The real danger, then, isn't just false narratives. It's a society where everyone feels forced to become their own prosecutor, journalist, and judge just to be taken seriously.
Okay, hello everybody. Good morning on behalf of myself, Clayton, and Operation Rock. Unfortunately, for the people who recognize this face, unfortunately, I am really, really disgusted by it. But yes, I did have an association with a recent documentary detailing Sean Puffy Combs. And this video is to address, I don't really pay attention to comments anymore. I think I've adjusted to this whole notoriety thing enough where I just have learned to ignore the inconsistent, stupid people that happen to want attention on social media. So they make stupid comments. They try to insult you because they want other people who are watching you to acknowledge them because they're nobodies. That's actually the way social media works. So when you get people who go on timelines and try to put a little messed up comment, or they try to say something funny, they really want the attention of the people who are watching you. And I've learned this months ago, so I don't even respond to comments. But the comments I'm paying attention to now are the comments of women, because women, I care about your opinion. And thank you for the women who have finally began to realize the truth that a man can be a victim. And there are many of you. I can definitely say that the pendulum of victimization, at least the degree of victimization to which I was accepted, has shifted tremendously. And I'm no longer considered to be just this guy who got paid. A lot of people understand, here's the truth. I did get manipulated and coerced. Cassie confessed to lying to me for years, people. I don't understand why there are so many biased feminists who don't want to accept the fact that Cassie lied. But I do get it. I get it, because Cassie was totally uplifted and supported by the Me Too movement and the women's rights movements, the domestic violence movements. They made this girl the champion of abuse for 2024 and 2025. So many people did this, people, that the fact that she's lying, if it comes out publicly in a strong enough, I want to say platform, with a strong enough push that Cassie lied on Diddy, a lot of organizations are going to take major hits. A lot of people who have been defending Cassie are going to take major hits. Because here's the truth. Even though she was assaulted, she lied about the RICO and the sexual encounters she had. She completely lied. Now, some of you women out there, being the feminist biased creatures you are, you're trying to give Cassie, you're trying to give her that justification. You're saying, oh, well, she slept with all those guys because she knew how evil Diddy was and what he would do. No, people, she was happy she was with a rich and powerful man. And eventually it went bad, but in the beginning it wasn't bad for her. She got everything she wanted. So like women who manipulate relationships to continue the lifestyle and the financial benefits that come, Cassie did the same things, and she was getting benefits, people. She wasn't broke. She wasn't miserable. She wasn't begging Puff for money. Puffy took care of that girl. I was around her, people. I saw it. Now, I don't blame her for what she did. I truly don't, because she was treated horribly. What I do blame her for is lying on me. See, people, I've been lied on by women. I'm a male victim of domestic violence. I'm an advocate for the rights of men. And people, I'm an advocate against malicious prosecution. And I am these things because all of this has happened to me within the last 5 years of my life. I was framed by a woman who lied on me to local law enforcement on Staten Island and got me maliciously prosecuted twice, got me falsely arrested multiple times. And people, I was the victim. I had a trial order of protection against this woman, naming her as someone who harassed me. But guess what, audience? I was a black man, and no one wanted to believe this black man, that this black man could be the victim of a woman who was lying to law enforcement. Now, there's a big difference between me and Diddy. Diddy's guilty. He beat that girl. Clayton Howard never committed an act of domestic violence. I've always had a horrible mouth, people. I'll be honest. My thing with women is if you piss me off, I'm going to curse you the hell out. Well, it used to be my thing. I would curse you out quick. I'd tell you to get the F out of here, call you a bitch, call you anything I wanted to verbally bash you if you verbally bashed me and got me into a confrontational position. People, that's not domestic violence. When a woman argues and curses with you and insults you and you curse her back and call her names, it's not domestic violence if you call her names if she's calling you names. That's called a domestic dispute between two people who are insulting each other. But the common pattern of women is once you curse them, they will lie and they will tell the cops that you're verbally abusing them. They will never tell the police the things they said to you. But they will definitely tell the people. They'll tell the police. They'll tell the prosecutors. They'll tell the advocates. They'll tell their friends. Oh, he called me a bitch. He disrespected me. He was downgrading me. But they're not telling the same prosecutors, advocates, and friends of theirs how they might have minimized and degraded you, how they might have done things to hurt you and start that argument. See, that's the bias of true domestic violence. The Diddy trial was about domestic violence, people. It was not about a RICO. If it was about a RICO, and Cassie didn't have to go to jail too, that's another thing, people. I never advocated for Cassie to go to jail. I advocated for the truth, which is that she was involved. The U.S. Attorney's Office could have gave her immunity for her testimony, people. She didn't have to lie. Easily, and she still would have never went to jail. That's how badly they wanted Diddy, people. As a man who sat there for 17 months, these guys wanted Diddy. They didn't care about anything else. The only thing they cared about was what Diddy did. I would tell them what Cassie was doing, and they would make excuses for her, like, oh, she was on a lot of drugs. Oh, she was young. How does she get excuses for coercing and manipulating me for years? How does she get excused for that? But he don't get excused for it when he was on drugs, because Diddy been a drug addict since for 15, 20 years. He gets no, I want to say leeway. Cassie got all the leeway, people. I was there, and the longer and longer I sat in front of these prosecutors, the angrier I got, because I knew what they were doing to this guy. I knew they were purposely lying and maliciously trying to keep the narrative out of what he was doing, of what was done, to purposely put him in jail and hide the actions of Cassie, and that was wrong. So I would have never sued people. This is what you have to understand about me. I would have never sued Cassie. Never. I would have never sued Diddy. My attorney came to me. He told me I had a claim. You know, I thought about it. I realized he was right. I decided to sue, but I didn't go public. I quietly contacted Cassandra Ventura's attorney, Douglas Wigdor, and Sean Combs' people you would have never heard from Clayton Howard. I was in the background. I was quiet. You've heard from me so much now about Cassie because Cassie is so greedy, because that's the truth, people. This is about greed. This girl lied on Diddy to get a bag, and now that people are beginning to realize the truth, which is she is liable, she's been running from Clayton Howard to avoid the civil lawsuit and try to find a way to fight it before she has to. This has been her legal strategy with her attorney, Douglas Wigdor. Yesterday, people, a California federal court granted me an order for alternative service. What does that mean? I filed petition paperwork, motion paperwork within the federal court of the Central District of California, and I requested from the court that I be granted an alternate way to serve Cassie because she was ducking me. Now, they normally don't give that to you unless you can prove that the person is ducking you. Well, people, I'm pretty skilled now as a legal advocate. I was able to prove that. I hired a private eye who investigated and tried to find Cassie and could not. I had multiple people, 2 people, drive to addresses in Connecticut to try to serve her. People, they weren't there. We even got to a house where we strongly believed the woman was her mother, and the woman lied and said Cassie wasn't her daughter. So, audience, what do? I use the affidavits of all of that. I get every media appearance that Cassie's attorneys have had since the Diddy trial of, I believe it ended July 2nd of 2025. And I made a timeline of that with the affidavits and gave it to the court to say, hey, listen, this girl is ducking me. Her attorney is unethical. He's hiding from me even though he knows his client has violated me. He knows that I'm a victim of this crime. Cassie's attorneys, Douglas Wigdor and Meredith Firetag, know about Clayton Howard. They've known about me since the mid-2024, people. They just don't want Cassie to come up off that money. So these unethical attorneys, because that's exactly what they are. They claim to be advocates for victim rights. Cassie's attorneys are not advocates for victim rights. They're attorneys who manipulate women's trauma or the lies of women who want to get money from men, and they manipulate it into lawsuits. This is what they do. Douglas Wigdor is no advocate for victims' rights, people. He goes and stands next to a woman who's publicly presentable, and then he kicks this, we're here for the victims bullshit, people. Cassandra Ventura lied to 40 or 50 men in the course of her encounters with Sean Combs. She wasn't forced to do all that, people. I'm the guy whose members she sucked on for years. People, I'm telling you, she was never in the corner on a chain acting like she was afraid. People, the freak-offs didn't go if Cassie wasn't in the mood. Cassie was the one who controlled the energy. The U.S. Attorney's Office knew this because I told them. People, I don't have nothing against her. I just don't believe a woman should be able to lie her way out of criminality in order to get a man put in jail. And I don't believe that, people, because it happened to me. A woman lied on me. A woman turned an entire community on me. And once that community found out this woman lied, people, I'm still fighting because these people in position are so arrogant and so unethical, they won't even admit the truth, which is that they know this woman framed me. People, I'm in civil court trying to fight for my rights and clear my name. You think I really want to be in civil court fighting these people? Fuck no. These motions take time, people. I've had hundreds of hours of paper litigation and trying to fight my offenders to clear my name and obtain my valid victim rights. But audience, I'm a black man. And black men don't get those victim rights. We got to fight for them. I am not like the women that can go and cry and bat, and an attorney will go up and become their mouthpiece and make it seem like they're so traumatized. People, I was traumatized when this first happened. My attorneys didn't care. They were trying to manipulate me into lying and saying Diddy raped me. Diddy never raped me. The man never touched me. One time, I think he put his hand on my chest and was like, yo, you built like a fucking god. I said, don't touch me again. He didn't touch me again, people. He did some weird things, but the man never sexually assaulted me. My attorney tried to get me to lie and say the man sexually assaulted me. People, why the fuck would I do that? I know people. I'm not going to lie and say Diddy raped me for a check. That's a lie, people. If it was true, okay, I would have to deal with that. It'd be embarrassing, but people, it wasn't true, so I'm not going to lie on him. Just like I wouldn't lie and say he's the one who forced me to come there. Just like I wouldn't lie and say that he's the one who was contacting me for this and he was negatively affecting the situation so the encounters happened. The truth is, people, from the man who was there 7-8 years, Diddy did not force Cassie to have sex, ever. If Cassie didn't want to have sex, Diddy didn't make her have sex. But when she was involved with the sexual act with another man, because she was his girl, he was in control. That's how the swinger lifestyle works. If a couple, a man and a woman, decide that man, if the woman decides she wants to spice things up, and hell, sometimes the men want to see their women with other men. They want to see a guy, like sex their other women and watch her be pleased, whatever. If this happens in a normal relationship, it's still normal, despite what you people think. The man is always in control because male energy is the only thing that can deal with male energy in that situation. The woman is not going to be in control unless the man is weak. Puffy wasn't weak. He was in control because it was his money. But Cassie was a willing participant. She was into this. She likes sex. She likes large penis. She likes to have sex, people. There's nothing wrong with a 19, 20, 22, 23-year-old woman having a high sex drive. What's wrong is when she violates federal statute to do it, and she knows she's violating federal statute to do it. That's wrong. Cassie knew that flying me from New York to Miami was a crime. She knew that flying me from New York to California was a crime. She knew that restricting my access and taking my clothes and my communication, and she knew all of that was designed to control me while I was in her room and under her direction. People, that is a crime. Despite the fact that you saw one video of her being assaulted, despite the fact that she's a victim of domestic violence. People, there are a lot of women out there who are in toxic, abusive relationships with men who are criminals that are criminals also. Domestic violence doesn't mean that a woman is committing criminal action because she's being forced to do it. Domestic violence happens just because two people can't control their emotional makeup. That's where physical domestic violence happens, especially from a man's perspective. When a man gets physical with a woman, it's because he does not have the self-control not to put his hands on her.
We are taught to believe victims, and that principle exists for a reason. But believing victims was never supposed to mean turning off critical thought, suspending due process, or declaring entire categories of people incapable of lying, manipulating, or committing harm themselves. If a man says he was abused, coerced, framed, or exploited, and our first instinct is disbelief, not because of evidence, but because of who he is, then justice has already failed. And if institutions decide in advance who must be innocent for a cause to survive, then truth becomes a liability. This case exposes a deeper problem. Modern justice increasingly runs on narrative alignment, not moral complexity. A woman can be abused and still lie about other things. A powerful man can be guilty of violence without every surrounding claim being true. A male victim can exist without erasing female suffering. When we refuse to hold these truths at the same time, we don't protect victims, we protect stories. The most dangerous idea in this entire discourse is not that women lie or men suffer. The most dangerous idea is that some people are allowed complexity and others are not. If justice only works when the victim is palatable, photogenic, or politically useful, then justice is not justice, it's theater. And theaters don't free the innocent. They just sell tickets to the loudest story. The real question isn't whether you believe Clayton Howard. It's whether you're willing to believe that the system itself might be afraid of the truth when the truth doesn't fit the script. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, like, and comment below. We would love to hear your thoughts.